sing like her. I can act like I'm singing. Yeah. Yeah. Say, made it. Look at your neighbor. I said, made it. Look at your neighbor. Say, made it. I am not Leandria Johnson at all, and I do not own the rights. Any music that you hear in the background, I might sing it like I own the rights to it, but I don't own the rights to it. That's the face she she's Somebody let me support out, cause I feel switching this thing. All right. So we're gonna stop playing around for a minute. I wasn't really playing around, I was just really kind of, doing what I do. So today is November the 15th, right? My days just kind of crash together nowadays because I got so much I'm trying to accomplish and dealing with this whole foot thing. But to your surprise, right? Not to my surprise because I already knew that it was gonna be all right. But to your surprise, I got a chance to go and see my specialist on yesterday, and I was told to start walking. He's like, get up, start walking, because in a couple weeks I'm gonna have you in therapy because we got to get you going. Like, yes, or we got to get me going, boo. Let's get me going. So I have been mandated to start walking again. So that's what I'm doing, right? So it's time to get it. I got crutches now. I got my boot. I'm out of my cast, and it's go time. But the reason why I wanted to go live this morning, I normally don't go live in the mornings. I normally kind of wait until everybody's at home and kind of relaxed and all that other good stuff. But I was doing my little, regular routine, getting up in the morning, praying, and washing your face, brushing your teeth, or whatever. And I was led to go to Nehemiah, which is one of my favorite books in the whole entire Bible, period. At least the Bible as we know to be the Bible, that's a whole nother topic. But I was led to Nehemiah, the fourth chapter. And as I was reading it, I felt like it needed to be shared. Not to say that you've never read it, because I'm sure you have, but it needed to be shared. So I wanted to do that, and then let you go about your business. Hopefully sometime throughout the day, or even tomorrow, next week, next month, even maybe even next year, you'll run past this video, and it'll help motivate you to get to your next level. Okay, so I'm gonna read it. If you happen to be home, um, I work from home, so I kind of have the luxury of being able to do a lot of things, from the comfort of my home office, which is awesome. And I pray that if that's what you want, that you get the same exact thing. So if you happen to be in that position, or you have to happen to be off of work today, or whatever the situation may be, I'm gonna read it. And if you want to read it with me, of course, you are more than welcome to do that. So we are coming from Nehemiah chapter 4, and I'm pretty much going to read the whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing. So bear with me. I read kind of fast, but I'm going to slow it down today so that you guys can really understand where it is that I'm coming from. Okay. Feel free, please, to share this video. I'm broadcasting live from my Unspoken fan page, as well as from YouTube. So I'm not exactly sure what the difference between the two is, and this is why you guys haven't seen me for a while, because I've been kind of setting some things up behind the scenes so that I can do more lives and more broadcasts and things like that. So work with me, share it for me, because I didn't get a chance to share it myself. As a matter of fact, before I going too deep, let me try to at least share it on my page so that people can see it. Okay. So in the meantime, go ahead and turn to Nehemiah 4, fourth chapter, and then we are going to read pretty much all of it. If you have no clue what Nehemiah is, let me help you. It's really easy. It's in the Old Testament, and it is right behind Ezra, which is a book that we normally don't tap into very much, but we should. And it is right in front of Job, which is most people's favorite. So, right? Um, I don't know how to share it. I don't. So, not exactly sure what to do about that. So, I guess I'll share it later. Whatever. All right, so here we go. It says, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry. He was greatly incensed. He ridiculed the Jews in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria. He said, "What are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burned as they are?" Tobiah the Ammonite, who was at his side, said, "What they are building, if even a fox climbed up on it, he would break down their wall of stones. Hear us, O God, for we are despised. Turn their insults back on their heads. Give them over as plunder in the land of captivity. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from our sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of the builders. So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half of its height, for the people worked with all of their hearts. But when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, and the men of Ashdod heard that the repairs to Jerusalem's walls had gone ahead and that the gaps were being closed, they were very angry. They all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and stir up trouble against it. But we prayed to our God and posted a guard day and night to meet their threat. Meanwhile, the people in Judah said, "The strength of the laborers is giving out, and there is so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall." Also, our enemies said, "Before they know it or see us, we will be right there among them, and we will kill them and put an end to their work." Then the Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times over, "Wherever you turn, they will attack us." Therefore, I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall at the exposed places, posting them by families with their swords, spears, and bows. After I looked things over, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great, who is awesome, and fights for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, your homes." When our enemies heard that we were aware of their plot and that God had frustrated it, we all returned to the wall, each to his own work. From that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half, equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor. The officers posted themselves behind all the people of Judah who were building the wall. Those who carried materials did their work with one hand and held a weapon in the other, and each of the builders wore his sword at his side as he worked. But the men who sounded the trumpet stayed with me. Then I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, "The work is extensive and spread out, and we are widely separated from each other along the wall. Whatever or wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, join us there. Our God will fight for us. So we continued the work with half the men holding spears from the fight light, the first light of the dawn, till the stars came out. At that time, I also said to the people, have every man and his helper stay inside Jerusalem at night, so that they can serve us as guards by night and workmen by day. Neither I, nor my brothers, nor my men, nor the guards will with me took off our clothes. Each had his weapon, even when he went for water. You're like, what's she talking about? What Nehemiah talking about is what I want to talk about. I don't know about you, but I have many times in my life felt just like Nehemiah felt in Nehemiah chapter 4. How many times have you decided in your heart that you were going to do something? Whether it was for your family, whether it was for yourself, whether it was for God, your church, your ministry, your business, and you had so many people opposing you, so many people in the background whispering about how you were going to fail, right? How many times have you given up because of what those people had to say, didn't have to say? I can be a witness to say that I have allowed people in my life, of course prior to now, to stop me from getting to where I knew that I was supposed to be, to stop me from doing the work that God intended for me to do from day one. I love how chapter 4 starts off, right? It's talking about how Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, all of these, God bless me, all of these people who were against Jerusalem and the Jews rebuilding the wall that they tore down. They had no faith in the Jews. They had no faith that the wall of Jerusalem would be rebuilt. They sat behind their closed quarters in their meetings, having lunch, and Jerusalem was the topic of the day, right? They were sitting around talking about Jerusalem and the Jews like they was just straight up bums, baby, okay? They can't do nothing. We tore that wall up real good. At one point, he even said, when they are building, if even a fox was to climb on it, he will break down their wall of stone. Now imagine how hard they laughed at that, right? That had to be like the best joke of the day. Like they really had to like hold their gut and just like they really got a good laugh out of that. Even a fox would tear it down. That's how some people think about you. That's how some people think about me. That's how some people think about us. They don't believe in us, and they definitely don't believe in our God. And it's known. It's not a secret. It's not something that we have to figure out, because they let us know constantly. They don't believe in our God, and they constantly make a mockery of him through us, if that makes sense, right? And so when you get to verse 4, you see how Nehemiah is not fazed at all by what the people are saying. What he decides to do instead is he decides to focus in on what God was telling him. Yahweh God, what are you saying? He does not take the time to give his enemy any glory. What he does instead was he takes his worry to God in prayer. And he just simply says, hear us, O God, for we are despised. Turn their insults back on their own heads. Give them over as plunder in their land of captivity. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from your sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of the builders. See, I believe that Nehemiah knew. Nobody else knew, because even even the people that he had gathered, the Jews that he had gathered to help him to rebuild the wall, right? This was their city. It wasn't like he just hired some people that he didn't know. He didn't just, go to Labor Ready and get a bunch of Mexicans that he had never met before and paid them $5 a day and said, hey, help me rebuild this wall. That's not what he did. The people that were rebuilding the wall were the families that lost the wall. You feel me? They were the descendants of those people who had lost the wall. So they were connected. They were connected to the project. It wasn't just a labor ready position. It wasn't just I'm going to hire you now and then I forget about you tomorrow type of a deal. They were connected to the project. And even they, after knowing, we're in Nehemiah at this point. Take this thing called your Bible, and I want you to just flip through it. I want you to flip through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. I want you to go all the way through it, and I want you to know that the Jews understood who their God was, because he had saved them. He had rescued them over and over and over again. This was not a new plight, but yet they were still afraid. Yet at every moment it seemed like they continued to forget who their God was and what he was capable of. How was that possible? The people who walked the closest with Christ, not Christ, but with God, Yahweh God, seem to forget about who he was the most. That doesn't make any sense to me. So they doubted, not because of anything that God had said or did, but because of what the enemy did. I'm saying. It doesn't make sense at all. And so they were worried. They were worried, and they did not know what to do. And Nehemiah, so he didn't just have the opposition of his enemies. He didn't just have the opposition of the world, but he had the opposition of his inner circle as well. He had other Jews coming to him and telling them, they're going to attack us. They're against us. We can't do this. But do you think Nehemiah gave up? He didn't. He didn't. He continued to pray. And not only did he pray, but he began to put a plan in the process. Right? Because that's the key. You can't just think that you're going to pray and then sit and wait for God to move. Because my God don't move that way. My word says that he gives us the power to fill in the blank. He gives me the power to fill in the blank. And so he moved. Lord, order my steps, number my days, give me instruction. He put a plan in place so that his people would be safe and that the wall would be safe. He started to take the people that were working for him, and he put them in Families. He set them up in families. He didn't just say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everybody that got an odd number, stand over here. Everybody that got an even number, I want you to stand over here. Now, you going to protect this side of the wall, even numbers. Odd numbers, y'all going to protect this side of the wall. He didn't do that. He was very strategic. He was very smart about what he did. So he set them up in families. Why did he set them up in families, Minister Holloway? Well, let me tell you what I think. I think that when you're smart enough, you see that I'm going to fight for my family better than I'm going to fight for odd number and even number, right? So if you take a group and you put my daddy in charge of it, right? So now my daddy's in charge. My mother is under my daddy. I'm under my daddy. My brothers and sisters is under my daddy. My children are under my daddy. My brothers and sisters' children are under my daddy. My grandchildren are under my daddy. We all under my daddy. My daddy gonna fight harder for us because we his seed, baby. We're his seed. He gave birth to that seed. So while as Christians, as believers, we are supposed to love everybody with the love of God, because the greatest of these is what? Love. Nehemiah was smart enough to know that he would get more out of his people if he grouped them in families rather than just numbers and people that you could or you could not know. I'm going to fight harder for my babies. The truth of the matter is that I'm going to fight for your grown behind. I'm going to fight harder because those are my babies. And so he set them up in camps and groups of families, and he equipped them. How many of you know that God will equip you with whatever it is that you need? He will equip you with it, whether it be knowledge, whether it be financial resources, whether it be clothing. In this particular situation, it was weapons. So he equipped them with the weapons, the swords and the spears that they needed to fight. He gave them exactly what they needed to win whatever war was about to break out. But the spectacular part to me is Nehemiah broke down all the instructions to them. Listen, you're going to stand here with your family. I'm going to separate you. I'm going to push you a little bit farther down the wall because we want to cover the whole wall, right? And you're going to work on this side and you're going to work on this side. And while y'all are working, I'm going to still equip you with the weapon, but you're going to work with one hand and you're going to build with the other. And even while you're doing that, I have placed soldiers on the outside of you, because I understand that you can't fully commit yourself to working and wondering what's going on around you. So I'm going to set up soldiers so that those soldiers can be on full watch, on full duty, and they got both of their hands ready for war, right? And then Nehemiah said, but the man who plays the trumpet, the one who sounds the trumpet, is going to stay with me, because he's on alert. He is my watchman, right? Wow. And so what happens after that? He says, when you hear the trumpet, join us. Join us where you hear it. But he didn't say use your weapon. He didn't say get ready to throw down, get ready to get them hands. He didn't say none of that. What Nehemiah said is, when you hear the trumpet, wherever you hear the trumpet, join us there, because that's what we all gonna be. But we not meeting to fight, because God is going to fight for us. Wow. So you mean to tell me that we didn't gather up all these weapons? We didn't group ourselves. We didn't did all of this. We don't even have to fight. We just look like soldiers. God will make you look like a soldier. Do you not understand that? He will make you look fearless to your enemy. He'll make you look like you won the war on your own the whole time, you knowing, if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, where would I be? He'll make you look like you did the thing by yourself. It's up to you to give him the glory, though. The amazing part about all of this was, to me, that the people continued to work. Verse 21 clearly says, so we continued the work with half the men holding spears from the first light of dawn till the stars came out. They didn't stop Nehemiah didn't let them sit down and go cry. Everybody didn't need to go and take a prayer break. They was already covered. The angels was already dispatched. It was already going to go down. All they needed to do was stand, believe, and work. That's what the Lord wants us to do. He wants us to stand, believe, and work. After you have prayed, stand, believe, and work. After you have told him what's on your mind, what's going on, you've asked him, how do I proceed? What do I need to do next? I need you to stand and work. That's it. It's not hard. We make it harder than it needs to be. Because that's a lot of times the difficult part is to continue to work. See, we think we need to lay down and stay on our faces for hours. Sometimes we do need to do that. Don't get me twisted. Because you will see that there are times when Nehemiah went and he prayed. There are times when David went and he fasted and he prayed. There are times when Moses and Noah fell before the Lord and you didn't see them for days and hours at a time. You can go into even the New Testament and you can see where these people really dedicated time and space to the Lord. But what I'm saying is that's not always necessary. You will know when it's necessary. You will know when you need to get down and get in the dugout and get it done. You will know. I'm not taking that away. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying that in this situation, they trusted their leader. Who is your leader? Are you the leader of your home? Does your family trust you? Are you the leader of your church? Does your congregation trust you? Are you the leader of the team that you have been placed responsibility for at work? Does your employees, do they trust you? Do you lead your business? Do they trust you? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Do they trust me? Do they trust the God that is in me, that is receiving the direction that I've prayed for and spilling it out and over to them? Their saving grace was the fact that they continued to work. There is no way that they would have been able to complete this wall if they had not continued to work. Because the whole purpose of the project was to rebuild the wall. And the enemy wanted to distract them in a way that they would stop, lose focus, and give up. And when they determined that they refused to give up and that they would focus, that's when they were able to see a completion. So just remember that God will fight for us. God will fight for us. God will fight for us. God is the best soldier. He is the best captain. Listen, I don't know what it is that you are going through at this moment. I really don't have a clue. All I know is that when I was seeking Yahweh God this morning, this is what he gave me. And my prayer is that everything that was spoken to me and everything that I have spilled out to you, you can receive it and that you can understand it and that you can not only understand it and receive it, but that you can move with it, that you could take it with you. Because my hope and my prayer is never to just be here talking. I could talk to myself in the mirror. I could talk to my kids and they're obligated to act like they're listening. I don't ever want to be a waster of your time. So I pray that you can receive exactly what I said and that you will begin to understand that God will fight for us. God will fight for you. You have to give him the opportunity to, though. You have to seek him in prayer. You have to hear what he is saying to you. After you have sought the Lord, after you have heard his voice, after you know you've heard him clearly, go forward with the instructions that he has given you and keep working. Keep working. in anticipation that your enemy is coming. But understand that the weapon may form, but it shall never prosper. Even though we're in Nehemiah, and Psalms is after the fact, and that's where they talk about the weapon forming and never prospering. That doesn't mean that it still wasn't relevant for Nehemiah, because clearly the weapon was formed, but it never prospered. So I'm done. I'm proud of myself because I did this in 30 minutes. Now I can get to work because clearly I'm in my office because I got some work to do. So I'm going to get some stuff done. Don't forget, please share the video with your other social media friends, with your own followers. Make sure you check out my website, allaboutunspoken.com. Also, check out my insurance agency's website, edifaceinsuranceagency.com. Check me on social media. All of my social medias are one or two things: preach_unspoken or minister unspoken Holloway. So I love you guys. I'm definitely going to be doing more lives and more YouTube broadcasts because I have not been doing that at all. So yeah, have an awesome day. Hug your families and tell them that you love them. And if you are in the Midwest, do me a favor, stay warm.